Good morning, friends. I just wanted to hop on quickly here before work and point you to a video that came out yesterday. I think yesterday. These days just blend together. What is it? Long days, short years. Anyway, another video by Veritas, caritas, talking about Dan Richards and basically his evolution. that's a nice word for it. Changes in the way he characterizes Ignatius Donnelly from being a gross racist to now all of a sudden he's the very model of a modern woke politician, being an abolitionist and a feminist and everything else. And it's part of Dan's evolution into what Dan is. I haven't paid a lot of attention to him lately, but anyway, check that video out. And the reason I wanted to come on is not only to point you to that, which is interesting in and of itself. That video talks a little bit about the concept of hyperdiffusionism, and I wanted to put my own exclamation point on what hyperdiffusionism is. That video emphasizes the aspects of a spread of culture, ideas, technology, whatever, from one society to another, and that is definitely a component of it. We know that ideas diffuse all the time. You can look around you and you can see it in the way goods and concepts are traded and move across the world. The thing that makes hyperdiffusionism its own special case of diffusionism is that there is an assumption baked in that not all societies are equally capable of innovating. Therefore, ideas, technology, whatever, flows in one direction for the most part. It flows from superior societies to inferior societies. Therefore, if you are operating in a hyper-diffusionistic framework, if you believe that, and there's nothing to demonstrate that that's the case at all among human societies, there's no evidence for it. So it's a belief system. So if you believe that, you can use the distribution of similarities to locate that source. And if you look back at the Victorian period stuff and even up into the 20th century, the source is often white people. For Donnelly, it was the white people from Atlantis. For the Nazis, it was the Nordic peoples of Germany who created all of these different civilizations. And you can find the maps. When you find a map that has arrows going from a single source all over the place, showing the diffusion of these things, you're kind of in hyperdiffusionism land at that point. That the racism is baked into hyperdiffusionism is a really, really critical point. When you understand that that's the space they're in, that they're taking that for granted, they're saying, well, if there are multiple things, then there can really only be one source because not all people are capable of innovating. And that has to be the source of all these things. Once you understand that, it kind of makes a lot of sense. It makes more sense. Part of this video was about Graham Hancock and his kind of nod to Ignatius Donnelly in one of his books from the 90s or the early 2000s or whenever it was. The hyperdiffusionism part of Donnelly is super, super clear. So you might say, well, maybe he's just using some of the observations that there were these things in different places, but maybe he's not using like the racist parts of Donnelly. It's hard to separate the two because the thing that gives those similarities around the world that Donnelly points out, the thing that gives them importance is that embedded racist idea that, well, here, let's just ask Donnelly. Let me find one of his quotes. This is all you need to know about Donnelly. This is what he says. Civilization is not communicable to all. Many savage tribes are incapable of it. There are two great divisions of mankind, the civilized and the savage. And, as we shall show, every civilized race in the world has had something of civilization from the earliest ages. And, as all roads lead to Rome, so all the converging lines of civilization lead to Atlantis. The abyss between the civilized man and the savage is simply incalculable. It represents not alone a difference in arts and methods of life, but in the mental constitution, the instincts, and the predispositions of the soul. that's as racist as it gets. He's not saying in this particular paragraph that, you know, the people who have civilization and are capable of it and have souls are white, and then the rest of them are not. You don't have to squint very much to get it in there. In the context of the book, it's abundantly clear. So for somebody like Graham Hancock to go, yes, we owe Donnelly a lot for originating these ideas and all of his thinking. This is the thinking that he's pointing to. This is it. This is what Donnelly was attributing all of these civilizations within this paradigm of hyperdiffusionism. These civilizations had to come from a single source. And gosh darn it, since there are no civilizations that we can point to today by black or brown people, that these were undoubtedly white folks. That's the Crib Notes version of Donnelly. And I will still have more to say on that. I know that I've promised data, and I'll get to it. You know, life is busy. Anyway, look at the Grafton Elliot Smith map of 1929, where he's assuming that all innovations have a single source, and he's tracing out the spread of heliocentric culture across the world, from Egypt all the way into the Americas. Nazi school kid map, I think, showing that all of the civilizations originate from the Nordic people and they spread out from there. And incidentally, you can find these with languages and the spread of ethnicities and things like that, all these big, bold arrows going everywhere. You can find those maps pretty easily, including in scholarship today. The problem especially in the 1800s, but in other times too, is when you are equating language, ethnicity, culture, all that sort of stuff, kind of in this uncritical mass of things that like essentially go together. You know, an idea can't travel separately from the people or, whatever. So anyway, watch that video. Keep paying attention. Hopefully you're paying attention more than I am. I'm just trying to get through the summer. I got BajaCon coming up this weekend, which I'm really looking forward to. Maybe I will meet some of you there. I do not know. I've never been to one of these things before, so have no idea really what to expect. I should make sure I wash this t-shirt, though. I want to show you guys my t-shirt. I think I will cause problems on purpose. And that is all I have to say about that, and I am going to get to work for the day. So, bye-bye.